That's just for whenever we need it. It's fine. You don't need to stop talking.
But the beep means you're recording me now, right?
Well, this is the middle of a conversation that hasn't been introduced. I'll clearly cut that.
It just seems like the kind of lie you would tell me to trick me.
What could be gained?
I don't know.
What could be gained?
I don't know.
Although I did capture and not use...
What are you doing and why?
Oh, I didn't know if you'd answer. I just wondered if you might say what day it was for the purposes of demonstrating you're still alive and well for the podcast.
Wow.
Can you confirm?
I'm so annoyed that you're doing this right now.
I'm sorry, can you just quickly confirm or deny that it's Thursday, June 10th?
I'm furious.
Okay, wait, are you in the car?
Yes, that's why I'm furious.
Oh.
I texted you that I was leaving work and then you video chat, which I assumed meant you were dying. That's the only reason why I could see that you would do this.
I'm so sorry. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And I did not include that in the podcast.
But you're including it now.
Well, who can say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't answer my phone in the car.
Yeah.
But you know that.
All that demonstrates.
And so I knew that if you were calling me while I was in the car, then it must be an emergency.
All that demonstrates is that you're a responsible operator of an automobile. And I did not know you were in the car, as evidenced by my genuine sounding surprise at the end of that conversation.
I now realize you missed my text message saying I was on my way home. But you can see why, from my perspective, I was both anxious and annoyed.
Yeah, those are almost always justified when dealing with me, I think. Hey, moving abruptly to our actual outline. Did you see that RuPaul has a Chia Pet now?
No, I definitely didn't see that.
We talked about Chia Pets on this podcast.
I'm sure we did. I definitely don't remember
Well, we did. I remember that you weren't familiar with the Chia.
No, of course I'm familiar with that.
You're familiar with it because
No, that was a commercial in our childhood.
Wait a minute. I feel like I have audio evidence of your unfamiliarity with this.
Well,
I'm not going to pull it up now because I don't want to do like a podcast within a podcast.
No, I'm fascinated though. I'm going to need this evidence.
Well, actually, you know what?
It's very possible that you were like, Chia. And I was like kind of cranky or tired or whatever. And like I was like over the podcast recording session or something. And no, not even that I was being an asshole intentionally, but sometimes, you have like a brain gap, like a temporary lapse in attention or memory. But yeah, I mean, I definitely remember Chia. I mean, I was in elementary school when Chia Pets, which had previously been a fad, were reignited as a fad. And I remember that. So much of my childhood was spent in negotiations with my parents trying to convince them to let me get a pet that I briefly lobbied for a Chia Pet.
Oh, so sad.
Eventually, my grandparents let me keep a mouse at their house, and that was my first mammalian pet.
Wait, that was considered less of a ask than a Chia Pet?
I think my parents knew that a Chia Pet would not satisfy my desire for a pet in any way. And that it was like just going to be a weird purchase for no reason.
A stepping stone to a gateway drug.
But then eventually I made a board game that the point was to demonstrate adequate knowledge of cat husbandry.
And that's when they decided that you were finally ready for a cat?
Yeah, I spent several months working on a trivia-based board game where you progressed in the game if you could answer questions about how to take care of a cat in order to convince them that I could be responsible for a cat.
This should be part of your story about how you became a scientist.
I don't see how that's related.
That should become part of your branding. Do you
running
you did
a scam?
Well, I was going to say, do a bunch of research to learn more about an animal. Seems pretty clear.
Well, if we recorded it last May, I could have said anything, right? Like who knows what brain problems I would have been having in May of 2020.
Yeah.
The main thing I need to ask you is, what is the shape of RuPaul's Chia Pet? Oh, or is there a RuPaul Chia Pet?
It's RuPaul.
Oh.
It's RuPaul herself.
I see.
The shape
it's
of
not
it,
that RuPaul personally cares for a Chia Pet. There is a Chia Pet designed to look like RuPaul.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's what it is it's her face, and then her hair is sort of flowing out to the side, and it actually grows sort of in wavy locks over on the side of her head.
Yeah, that all makes sense. I mean, RuPaul is a marketing savant.
There have been 2 other people who've had Chia Pets.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, that's correct. Wow. I was going to ask you if you knew who the other 2 were.
Let me
And Bob
see.
Ross is one of the other 2. That's the one that I thought would be harder to guess, but I guess maybe that one's iconic.
Who would be the other human Chia Pet?
I mean, it's both incredibly obvious and you would have no reason to guess it. So,
all right, well, I'll let you tell me.
It is Barack Hussein Obama.
Okay, well, that's pretty weird, actually, because
he's the president.
I understand that, but he didn't have like long hair at any point.
That's a good point.
He always had very closely cropped hair.
Wow.
Like, to have his haircut, the chia would never even get leaves.
Very big,
you would have to like trim it down to the stems all the time.
Damn, I hadn't considered that.
That's the weirdest famous person among the weirdest ones you could have picked.
Right. It's like one step below having Mr. Clean as a Chia Pet or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, damn, good point. I mean, Trump would have been a better guess, of course, because
if you were going to have a president Chia Pet, you would pick the one with the weirdest hair.
Yeah.
Well, you're Roman.
Well, you're Allison, and this delight to the senses is seedy business.
It's seedy business. It's seedy business.
Incidentally, the TMZ page I'm looking at about RuPaul's Chia Pet says RuPaul. That the header is you, RuPaul. I'm a Chia Pet! 3 exclamation points.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, we were recording on a Saturday evening. We were out in the garden earlier today doing some routine watering and maintenance sort of tasks. But then, like a half an hour after we did that, we had like the strongest downpour of the year. You might have left for the lab already at that point.
No, I remember it happening.
Yeah.
And thinking, wow, bad timing.
Bad timing. What is in fact going on? What is in the garden?
Then let us cultivate our garden. It's the only way to make life endurable.
Well, as you know, our little kumquat tree is absolutely covered in tiny green kumquats.
Yeah. I'll tell you, we're recording a week later than we were gonna. And even in the intervening week, like I'd had this on the outline, but boy, have they gotten like big in the last week.
Yeah, I think they were like Skittles sized maybe last week.
Yeah.
And now they're
like cherry tomato size almost.
Yeah, they're in between a chickpea and a cherry tomato. They're like marble sized.
They're big boys.
Yep.
We love our large sons. Is that right? Did I do that right? What would the experience of eating one of those? They smell like kumquats right now.
Yeah, I really would be bitter.
Yeah, I'm still pretty desperate to put one in my mouth, but that would be a waste.
And we also cut a sucker off of the kumquat tree today.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what its rootstock is.
Which we had just been discussing doing that for the last week or so, but finally got around to it today. And you informed me that we had to sterilize the shears in advance because we don't want to give it an infection.
Yeah, I mean, sanitize at least.
Yeah, sure. But it's very delicate. It seems like a very delicate tree.
I don't know. Well, I'm just erring on the side of caution with the tree. It's
so
our most expensive plant by far.
That's true, yeah. So the sucker, you were going to say there's questions of...
Well, I'm not sure what the rootstock that the kumquat is on was, but it had huge thorns.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't fully realized until I'd cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
But like quite significant thorns, which I realize citrus trees do have, and we've, I guess, bred them out.
But it could be a Frankenstein.
Yeah, well, a grafted tree by its nature is a
No, don't do it.
Is a Frankenstein.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree. That's correct usage.
We've had our first harvest of green beans and 2 harvests of cherry tomatoes. And of course, by harvest, I mean handful.
Yeah. We've consumed them.
Yeah.
Although I haven't eaten any of the cherry tomatoes.
We had them in a salad.
We had them in a salad, but I haven't eaten, put one in my mouth as a treat. We have some right now. Maybe I should eat one. Let me eat one on mic. The audience loves it when I eat on mic.
Okay.
That's what I hear.
All right.
I got one. All right, I've got this tomato. I'm going to eat it on mic. And of course, there's no way for a person to know if I'm enjoying it unless I make sensual, moaning enjoyment noises. And then when I do that... Listen, when I do... when I do that, you have to say, I'll have what she's having. Okay?
No.
Here we go.
Oh, I hate this.
Oh, wow. Okay, wait. To just be totally serious, it's terrific.
Yeah, these are going to be great cherry tomatoes.
Wow, that's so exciting.
First of all, I can't believe you're going to make our audience listen to that because it was horrible. Nothing's
more natural. Allison, where are the melons?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of really vigorous cantaloupe vines, and they've been flowering like crazy for weeks now, but none of those flowers has turned into any little melons. So I don't know what's happening.
We can't ever get a melon.
Yeah, I mean,
every year something keeps us from getting melons.
Yeah, man, I really want to grow a melon.
It seems like it's hard because they're so big. How can something get so big?
Yeah, but these are actually really small cantaloupes.
Mm.
They're not Minnesota midget small, but I think they're like fully grown size. No, Minnesota. So a really small cantaloupe is like fist size.
Right, the kind you put a scoop of ice cream on and have it as dessert, according to what we've read in the past.
But these are, I think, Jenny Lind melons and are on the smaller end of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping that would mean we could get some melons out of this, but I don't know what's going on.
It's not looking good.
Yeah. Actually, I have 2 more pieces of news for what's in the garden, which I have not told you about until now.
They're surprises?
Yeah.
All right, great.
So the first thing that's in the garden is that someone I work with gave me a plant this week.
Oh, yeah.
He gave me a division from his lavender.
Oh.
So he lives in our neighborhood and has for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And when he moved here, he planted... He said like 30 some kinds of lavender.
Wow.
And they all died except for this one.
Wow. So it's the perfect lavender for this environment.
Right. It's a locally adapted lavender.
Wow.
And, we were chit-chatting in the hallway, and which is how this very kind offer of a lavender plant came up. And I was talking about how pitiful our green beans look and how bad the soil is and everything. And he said, yeah, I've pretty much given up on vegetable gardening here. It's been... many years of getting pretty much nothing out of it.
Sure.
But I have one plant that does grow, and that's the other thing. He gave me this bag of seeds he's saved from some kind of squash that is, again, well adapted to local conditions.
This is the way to do it.
So this is like a winter squash.
Cool. So not gross like summer squash. In fact, delicious like winter squash.
So anyway, we should plant some and see what happens.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, now I have a seed-saving friend.
What a triumph. Did you put do we have the lavender
The
plant?
lavender's out in the backyard, but I haven't transplanted it into anything. He gave it to me in a little pot, and it's just still in that pot.
Well, that was a great surprise. Thank you. Okay, today's catalog it's quite a physical object, I'll say, in terms of production value. You have the physical copy as ever. I have the PDF, but, it's pretty weighty in the hand. It's the Osborne Quality Seeds catalog. It is their 2021 catalog. Interestingly, it doesn't say that on the cover, or it does in like extremely small print vertically up the side. But if you were just glancing at the cover of this catalog, you wouldn't know.
Right. It's on the spine, but not the actual front cover.
Yeah, gives it a timeless element, I guess.
And it's actually the cover just looks very clean because there's so little text on it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, Osborne is, it's one of many independent family-owned seed companies. It's fairly recently founded in the grand scheme of things. In 1987, operates out of Mount Vernon, Washington. Something I found interesting about them is they have a trial field at the Washington State University Research Station in Mount Vernon, where I guess they, run experiments essentially to determine like seed performance under various conditions, which seems very cool to me, especially for a family-owned company that's 30 years old or whatever. Another incredible thing about that, I'm not sure who their customer base is compared to other catalogs, but they are extremely accessible in having Spanish language versions of everything. They offer a Spanish language version of the catalog. They have a Spanish language Instagram page, and Facebook page. I went to look at their YouTube page. They actually just posted a bunch of videos in the past week, and all their videos are equipped with Spanish subtitles, which made me sort of take a double glance at where they were. I thought maybe I had misread and it was an Arizona company or something like that, but it's a company out of Washington State. I mean, I think that's terrific, but it's surprising and I think completely unique among the companies we've looked at.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, their YouTube videos have all been posted within the last 2 years, most within the last few weeks, it looks like. But they have videos about trials they've done at their trial site on sunflowers and beans and broccoli and tomato and radicchio. And then they have a bunch of videos where you can meet their staff. You can see they got pictures of all their staff on the inner cover of the catalog. They all look pretty hip to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's meet one of them.
I'm really entranced with this specialty pink radicchio.
Oh, wow. Do you want to hold on?
It's just a beautiful picture.
Let's read the description after we hear about Linda.
Okay.
I am really passionate about vegetables, and I specifically love working with farms that are growing radicchio and carrots, lettuce. Those are kind of some of my favorite crops.
Well, radicchio is her favorite crop, so that's extremely fortunate that you've got a description pulled up.
This 2-page spread of radicchio is beautiful. They all look great.
Okay, when by spread, I thought you initially meant centerfold,
no,
like we've proposed.
That's what I was implying. Yeah. But no, it's just they're 2 pages of radicchio.
Beautiful radicchios.
And they're all gorgeous, and they all look really different from one another. But the one I was transfixed by is Rosalba, a beautiful, bright pastel pink radicchio with slightly thicker leaves and a wonderfully light, bitter, sweet flavor. It is truly a masterpiece in the field, which makes the longer maturity time worth it. But be warned, it needs cold temperatures to turn pink. Now, I will offer one critique, which is I do not know what a light, bitter, sweet flavor is. Like
bittersweet is an emotion more than it is a flavor. Let's be clear.
light, comma, bitter, comma, sweet.
Is it light in color and bitter and sweet
No.
in taste, or it is a light?
It is a light flavor, a bitter flavor, and a sweet flavor.
Bitterness, famously a light flavor. Yeah.
That's why I'm baffled,
Yeah, it is
because
baffling.
light, bitter, and sweet really is a paradoxical trifecta.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine, I can't begin to imagine what this tastes like from the description, but the photograph is gorgeous. They actually have 3 pictures of it. That's how beautiful it is. They needed to show me
What
3.
page is it on?
It's on page 37.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's what does it remind me of? Reminds me of like it's what it is the color of the ginger you get with your sushi or something, and sort of the texture. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Let's come back and read some more of these in just a second, but can we go back to the cover for a moment? And I just wanted to drive home again the high production value of this catalog. Like, this is not one of the most famous seed companies, but it has maybe the most expensive seeming catalog that I've encountered.
Yeah, this is all glossy pages. So that the cover is very heavy.
Yeah.
Like it's a heavy paper, heavy cardstock, I guess.
Mhm.
Glossy, beautiful photographs. But then every page is also glossy
Yeah.
and covered in beautiful photographs.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like it's bound on the side. It's bound nicely. Like, it's not like there's a staple in the middle, like in
Right.
99.9% of catalogs. It has a like book binding,
Yeah.
which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Like, where is that money coming from?
Yeah, how are they making this? Yeah, this is a big catalog. It's 176 pages.
Yeah.
176 full color glossy pages.
Yeah. It seems even larger because of how thick it is, because of the cardstock that it's on. Yeah, I don't understand. And to be clear, like, bigger ain't better, I guess, in the field of seed catalogs. I think like some of my favorites to have in the hand are some of the cheaper ones. Even there's a charm to like a more rustic catalog than this.
Yeah, I mean, I have a preference for newsprint. And I think if you've got a compost pile, you at least should, I think, have a preference for a newsprint catalog over a glossy. But you're right that they've got money to burn on this.
Yeah. I didn't pay for this catalog. Like, I don't exactly understand. Maybe it's a front. But it's also like a pretty, like, the design is pretty good in it. How do you feel about the general design and layout?
The photographs are beautiful.
Yeah. I think they're heavily saturated. Like, that's a critique maybe I have of it.
Yeah, and it's particularly egregious if you turn to the arugula
Yeah.
on page 58.
Yeah.
Like, they've really cranked up the saturation.
Yeah, I think in a lot of the greens, you're really see it's like a sort of eye-popping neon feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's like seaweed salad where they've added red,
Right.
blue dye number, whatever, you know.
Right.
It's an intense green.
Yeah. But all the pictures are great.
They're well composed, and I also think, you know, just looking at the radicchio on page 36, someone's got an eye for just the layout of it, where there's, for example, that middle row on page 36, there's a lightly ruffled red speckled green whole head on one side, then a bisected so that you can see what all the leaves look like, how they're layered, a different speckled pale green to white speckled with pink cut open, and then finally, on the other side of that is a really creamy yellow speckled with pink
Yeah, that one
whole
looks
head
great,
that's
huh?
ruffled. And the green one and the yellow one have similar proportions and size, and they sort of balance the pairs, the halves of the other one that's been cut in half that's in the middle. Like, someone spent some time, I think, composing this and choosing the photographs.
Yeah, I can also zoom in to a unbelievable degree on these pictures. Oh, here, come over here for a second. I want you to look at it because it's remarkable. I mean, it looks incredible, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's
and
eye-popping, full resolution. How big is the file?
Yeah, this is what
Tell
I was
me
going to...
how big this catalog file is.
I forgot to lead with this because I meant to put it in the outline and I didn't. But this PDF of the catalog that I downloaded from their website, this is the PDF they offer, is 348 megabytes large.
Whoa.
It is. I'll have you know, I sorted the files on my computer by size, and it's the third largest file on my computer. Second to like Logic Pro and Sibelius, both of which are like professional software that I use. That's seed
stunning.
Catalog is the third largest file on my computer.
So here's a question. Do you think they don't know
how
about
to compress
compression?
a PDF? Yeah, I do think that, yeah. But
because who I mean, why? What?
But on the other hand, you can zoom into unbelievable definition on these plants if you download the PDF, if you have enough space on your computer to download the PDF.
What a choice.
Yeah. Do you want to read some descriptions?
Sure. Let's look at this suspiciously intensely colored kale.
Okay. What page did I say it was on? 69.
Nice. What page is it on again?
69.
Nice. One thing I'll say is that the descriptions are quite brief.
Yeah, if there's one sort of design criticism to make about this catalog, I would agree that it's probably they just are not expansive descriptions, but that's done so that they have so much space for enormous pictures, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a visual catalog more than a textual one. And so in this audio medium, we've chosen to bring it to you anyway.
I'll link to it, but again, 380 megabytes. I'm going to really hit their servers hard if even a few people go and download this.
Let's do category by category.
Okay.
In the kale. So the first category is green leaf, green stem. Rogue. Finely curled kale with an upright habit and sturdy stem. Thick, healthy leaves sweeten up as the weather cools. Productive and cold hardy.
Really brief, but informative in the important ways, I think. When it says with an upright habit, is a habit a part of kale that I don't know about, or is it saying it has a habit of being upright?
Yeah, it means how the plant overall grows.
Okay.
So, whether it's like a trailing vine or a sprawling plant or an upright plant.
Those are habits.
Yes.
Okay, I guess I've never heard that terminology before, but that's why you're the knowledge one.
Winter boar. Standard green curly kale. Winter boar's tall plants bear an abundance of thick, ruffled leaves on long, slightly curled stems. Productive and cold hardy, flavor becomes sweeter after light frost.
In terms of like the eating of kale, unlike lettuce, where you often get like, lettuce gets presented in full leaf form. Like sometimes it's a lettuce where the leaf's really big, like romaine or something, or sometimes it's a lettuce where the leaf is not as big, but typically it's like a bunch of full leaves that you get in a salad. But kale's always like ripped up, right?
Yeah, except for baby kale.
Yeah, that's true.
Or I think there are some kales that maybe people wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, kale leaves are big and they're thick and they're tough usually.
Yeah, right.
So the preparation for salad often involves massaging the kale. Like with salt and oil or something to make it softer.
Wow. Have you done that?
Yeah.
I've never done that. It seems so intimate.
Well, next time we have some kale, you're welcome to massage it and see if you like it.
I'd love to. Maybe I'll read a couple red leaf, red stem ones.
Great.
There's the Merlot, which is a truly red kale, with the darkest color we've ever seen early in maturity. Plants have a medium frame, a smaller plant with smaller leaves than scarlet, red boar, and sun boar. Slow to mature initially, but worth the wait to harvest the dark purple, tightly curled leaf with vivid magenta veins and stems.
The photographs show a very purple kale.
Yeah. It's like a deep purple that's almost brown. Like it's so deep. There's also the red boar, which was referenced in the previous one. It's a hybrid curly red kale with good uniformity. Red boar's tall plants bear heavily frilled leaves on long, upright, bright purple stems. Flavor and color is enhanced in cooler temps, with sweeter taste and stunning color after frost. That picture's taken in the sun, unlike the other ones, but seems like it's probably a lighter purple. Certainly the stems.
That's how it looks, at least. I'll read a couple from Green Leaf Red Stem.
Okay.
Really getting wild.
Yeah.
Red Ursa. Red Ursa combines the beautiful red stems and leaf veins of Red Russian with the frilliness of a Siberian type. Leaf shapes can vary from flat to lobed to extremely frilled. The plants are large and the leaves are positioned at an upward angle. Cold hardy and has exhibited clubroot tolerance.
Oh.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Medusa. Deeply lobed and heavily frilled dark green leaves with contrasting magenta veins make this variety a stunner. Plants are tall and vigorous, stems are long for easy harvest and bunching, and the thick, waxy leaves hold up well after harvest.
There's one final color combo category, and that is the green leaf white stem. They offer Casper. Casper boasts an abundance of weighty green leaves with tightly frilled edges and contrasting white veins that widen throughout maturity, giving the plants an ornamental look. Thick, tender stems are delicious and cut easily for bunching. Variation of leaf color between plants adds interest. Good cold tolerance. I will say that this Casper and one of them we didn't read in the green leaf red stem category above the Red Russian both look more like arugula or a lettuce where you might eat a full, like the leaves are more tender and smooth, like you might eat a full leaf of something.
I bet those stems are tough.
Yeah, that's true. The Casper looks almost like chard to me.
The Casper leaf is almost a cabbage leaf shape. It's really broad.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it looks strikingly different actually than any of the other kale.
Yeah, but I would agree with you. The Casper and Red Russian are on sort of opposite ends of a spectrum where the Casper leaf is really filled in and then the Red Russian leaf is really deeply lobed.
Sure.
All right, let's move on to the next category, lacinato. Black Magic. Black Magic has been our most popular lacinato since its introduction. Dark green savoid leaves resist curling inward and are more uniform and productive than other OP varieties. Upright, open plants are easy to harvest and are vigorous to regrow. Do you want to read the one in the last category? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then they have a specialty category. They offer the Hydra, unique seaweed type with very thick, deeply serrated leaves. Hydra's semi-open plants are incredibly uniform and vigorous. The interesting leaf shape makes attractive, sturdy bunches. Fantastic cold tolerance. Yeah, they look like seaweed.
Yeah, and they show 2 photographs of this one, and they're rightly proud of how beautiful a plant this is, I think, to show 2 different images of it. Both beautiful.
Yeah, when I zoom in on this with my high fidelity PDF, like I could show you a frame of part of this that I bet anyone would guess was seaweed. There's also Linda on this page, who we recently heard on the YouTube video, Harvesting Kale for Evaluation, a beautiful picture of Linda with bushels of a wide variety of kale in her arms. Inspires confidence. But what, Allison, if I wanted to have a bunch of different types of kale all at once?
Well, then I have just the right product for you. And it's called the Kale Yeah Mix.
So like kale yeah?
Yeah, like hell yeah.
Like hell yeah, but kale yeah. Yeah.
Kale yeah. And it's meant to be grown for baby leaf greens, like for a salad mix. A combination of colors and leaf shapes for teen. I I've never considered the idea of a teen salad green before, and I'm sorry to pause mid copy, but no, thank you.
Yeah, that's not great. Like, what if it was like leaf shapes for toddler? Or
nope, not into
it's pretty weird.
But anyway, let me just start at the beginning. A combination of colors and leaf shapes for teen, baby leaf, and microgreen production can be used on its own, added to other baby leaf greens for a nutritious salad mix, or harvested at teen size for a mild braising mix.
Whoa.
The most bizarre thing, I think, is that when they list teen, baby leaf, and microgreen, they first list a thing that I've never heard anyone call a plant, and then they list two things that I've heard of.
Yeah.
So if they had said microgreen, baby leaf, or teen, I would have at least followed along and been less absolutely shocked and horrified. I would still not have cared for it at all.
Yeah. Well, here's the stages of how a leaf can be. It can be a baby leaf, toddler leaf, then microgreen, then teen, then barely legal, then adult. Those are how leaves can be.
Well, microgreen is smaller than a baby. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I do know that now that I consider it. But that one should be called a fetus then.
Yeah, I mean...
or newborn.
Look, I don't like any of this at all.
It's no good. I think, why are we too good for big and little or young and old?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they couldn't say harvest for microgreens, baby leaf, salad mix, or let them grow a little longer. Harvest at a slightly larger size for a braising mix. Anything like that. Yeah. Anything just regular. Yeah, why did they have to make it weird?
Yeah, just say like when they're in middle school or something.
Yeah, that would solve it.
All right. Yeah, so I don't know. My overall impression, this is like not the type of catalog that I'm into, but it's like a really good version, I think, of what it is. I even like the descriptions, even though they're not voluminous. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. Except for that last one.
All right. Before we go, I would like to spring a what the fuck is that on you.
Awesome.
What the fuck is that?
They have a table of plant diseases and their abbreviations, the codes they use in the catalog. I think it'll probably be just simply impossible to guess any of these. But I'll give you the code, and then you can tell me what disease it is.
Okay.
All right. And I'll tell you what kind of plant it impacts as well.
Okay, that's great.
So brassicas are often afflicted by CR. What is CR?
Crown rot?
Exceptional guess. I gave you this one first because it was actually, we've referenced it in this episode. CR.
We've talked about it and I've already forgotten. See, I told you it could happen.
It is clubroot.
Oh, right. Yeah. I've never heard of that
I've also never heard of that.
What a lapse, though. You're absolutely right that we mere moments
ago. How about this impacts a large number of things, including brassicas, peas, onions, radishes, lettuce, basil. It is DM.
Downy mildew?
Absolutely right. Yeah, I would get a 0 for however many these were, but congratulate. I mean, even getting one of these is incredible to me. I'm very impressed by that. That's correct. DM is downy mildew. You have any idea what simply F might be?
Fusarium wilt?
Yes. Wow. You're on a streak.
Well, you're picking. I mean, there are few plant diseases I know. Downy mildew, powdery mildew, fusarium wilt, tobacco mosaic virus.
Right. Well, I was gonna ask you BCMV for beans, which is in fact bean common mosaic virus. There are a lot of ones that end in MV that are various mosaic viruses. Here's something that impacts corn. P.S.
Wow, I don't know anything about corn diseases. P.S.
There's be no way to know this. It is, in fact, common rust.
Okay.
Is there some, like, table of elements that makes that make sense?
It must be, like, the Latin binomial name of the species that causes the disease, right? Common rust is caused by the fungus Puccinia sorgi.
Okay. There it is. Peppers can be impacted by N.
Ooh, that's ominous.
Yeah. Just the letter N as in nickel.
I think you mean as in nitrogen.
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up at this point with...
I'm going to say Nosferatu.
No, but what a terrifying name for a disease. No, good guess. So unlike some of these other things, this is not a virus. It is a different kind of thing.
Well, it could be fungus, bacteria.
Could be something even other than those things.
Or a parasite. Or it's not really a disease, it's just a pest.
What if I told you it is in fact a parasite?
A pepper parasite.
A pepper parasite. That is N.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper parasites.
Wow, impressive. It's a nematode.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, some of these do feel pretty dire. There's melons get MNSV, which is melon necrotic spot virus.
Oof.
I don't want that one.
No.
Anyway, good job. Surprisingly good job. Okay. And if you're so inclined, you can elect to follow us on Twitter at @CDBusiness or on Instagram at CDBusinessPod, or you can email us at cdbusinesspod@gmail.com. Let us know if you want us to talk about a particular catalog. Leave us a review if you'd like. And assuming they have not been impacted by TBSV, tomato bushy stunt virus, parentheses, lettuce dieback complex, you should eat your vegetables.
We're all just doing the best we can.
Speak for yourself.
It's city business. It's city business. Boring talk about seeds, city talk between boys. Mind-numbing chatter about our mules and spores. We'll dig a ditch and moan and split the difference.